Okay, well, welcome back to my channel. What I'm looking at here, this is my 2003 Ford F-150, VIN number W. They have different year model, different engine for this year model. This is a 4.6 V8. What I got here is a roaring noise under the hood. So basically, I'll get to I'll skip all the BS and get to what I found. It seems like this idler pulley, this idler pulley right here, the bearing inside of it is going out, making a lot of noise. When I start the engine up, it has this roaring sound. And you see I got this really long 3/8 extension here. Yeah, it's a pretty long one. This is an extension. So this is what I did. I'm not saying you should do this. You can if you want, your choice. But what I did was, with the engine running, I put the tip of this extension right on the bolt that holds the idler pulley in place. And I put my ear up to this end while the engine was running, and I could hear, and it's like a stethoscope. It's basically, it's a mechanic stethoscope. Well, I learned this from working as a mechanic. You can buy a mechanic stethoscope from the tool guy, or you can use this depending on whatever your budget is, however you roll. So basically, this is what I did. I put my ear up to the end, and I could hear and also feel an immense vibration, abnormal vibration coming from this. So I'm pretty sure that this is my culprit. But since I'm going in here anyways, right below it, I hate when I can't find shit. Okay. There we go. Get some light up in here. So right below, okay, here we go. This is my idler pulley. It's idle because it just stays in one spot and rolls, provides tension for the belt. It's got a bolt right there. Right below it, this is the belt tensioner or tensioner pulley. It's got a huge spring inside of here that you have to take a 1/2 inch pry bar, 1/2 inch ratchet to get this to move, to put tension on the belt, hold everything in place. So I am going to change both of these because I'm already here. Might as well. I recommend if you're at home mechanic, definitely do it all at one time. And the belt too. If you haven't changed your belt, might as well do it all at one time. You're already here, you're gonna take this stuff off anyway. I changed my belt out recently because I had a roadside emergency with this alternator right here. My alternator went out. I was on the road, stopped at a store, went ahead and got me an alternator and got me a belt while I was there. And I didn't realize this pulley was going bad. I didn't check it, honestly. I just wanted to get back on the road. Put an alternator on, put a belt on, got back to business, and I started noticing this roaring noise. So my belt's relatively new. If yours is not new, if you cannot remember last time you changed your belt, do yourself a favor, do it right now. So my parts. There it is, brand new. All it is a pulley with a bearing pressed into it. Again, it's the idler. It's the idler bearing from O'Reilly Auto. Went ahead and got the tensioner as well because, like I said, it don't make any sense not to. Again, it's very similar. A pulley with a bearing pressed into it, but this has an arm, and inside this, you'll see there's a huge spring in there. Now, the box will tell you the same thing I'm about to tell you. Don't mess with this. This is you put this in this way it sits. There's nothing you can or need to be doing messing in here. It's got this little lock here. Do not take this off because you will get injured. It's got a lot of tension back there and it's just looking to get out. So don't do that. All right. So I'm gonna put the phone down for a moment. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take off my air. I want to get as much room as I can because I got big arms. And so I'm going to take this off, move this out the way, and then I'm going to remove the belt. And we're going to start taking it piece by piece. All right, we're back. See, I got the air intake off. and got me some room to work because I want to be able to get to my pulleys when I change this belt. When I put this belt on, I'll make sure it's right. While I'm here, I got my air filter out. Take a look at that. I'm not too mad at it. So we're gonna keep that in there. I know I get distracted sometimes. I do. So I've got my 1/2 inch breaker bar on my tensioner, and it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm gonna actually pull towards the driver's side like this. I'm trying to hold the phone at the same time by myself here, so you can see. Look at the belt right there. Gets loose on the pulley. Take it off. Careful. Slowly let that belt tensioner come to a rest, and you can pull your tool out. And so now it's just a matter of taking off the parts, because I'm gonna leave the belt where it's at, because I'm not, like I said, my belt's new. I'm gonna keep the belt there, keep it on the very bottom there, that harmonic balancer. Kind of a pain to get to, but it'll work out. I apologize, I don't have a camera person here. I'm by myself, so this is my ride. I got to get it working. So let's see here. I'll be right back. All right, so real quick, all it was a 13mm bolt. This is it. It came this little stud right here. This is where it goes on to. It slides right on like a champ. So 13mm. It came off just with the breaker bar here. Nothing's fancy, no air tool or nothing like that. This is my old one, and you can kind of, what you can do is you put your fingers over the hole and kind of spin it, and like this one feels just kind of feels rough. Feels kind of, I can tell it's not right. It doesn't feel smooth. It should be smooth. The bearings are there to make motion fluid, to make it smoother. This one I can roll with the same fingers in the same spot. Feels a lot smoother. So I know this one, I know it's bad. So I'm doing all the good by changing this out. This truck, you know, this is a 2003. I bought it used. It has like 297,000 miles on it. So I've been doing most of the maintenance stuff I can't do at the house. I'll take to a shop. The biggest thing I've done on this was put a transmission. Transmission went out probably about 10 years ago. No, 8 years ago, something like that. So I put a transmission in there. Been running ever since. It's my daily driver. So this part is probably a Motorcraft, probably original from the factory, or something. Or I've never changed it since I've owned the truck. So it's got a lot of miles on it. I've driven all over with this thing. So we're going to change that now. We're going to look at that that belt tensioner. It looks like some 10mm. Look at your old parts and make sure you don't lose nothing, please, because you're not going to be happy. I've lost parts that I'll never find. So here's my tensioner. Look at my old one, look at my new one. They look very similar, if not the same. This is what I'm looking at. I've got 3 bolts on top. They look like 10mm. I'll probably get them with just a little ratchet, but this is it. I'm gonna change this. It also has a bearing, like I said, this has a bearing in here. And the way I look at it, as far as I'm concerned, since I've owned the truck, this part and that part down there, they got the same amount of miles. They're the same age, same wear, same tear. So might as well change them. This ought to fix that noise. If it doesn't fix the noise, then now I know I have an issue with the AC compressor, or the bearing noise maybe coming from the power steering pump, or worse, it's coming from the engine itself. Down at the very bottom, you got the harmonic balancer that's attached to the crankshaft. If that's the case, then now we're talking about engine replacement, repair, or something. But I'm hoping it don't get that bad. I'm hoping, based on what I found out on this idler, I'm hoping this is my problem, because you know it's bad. It feels like it's rough inside when it spins. And think about it, this thing's doing on when you're going down the highway at 55, 60, it's pushing almost 2,000 RPMs. The thing is spinning its ass off, and if those bearings are bad, they're going to have to do something. They're going to get hot, they're going to make noise, and then they're going to fail. And if this fails, it's going to take your belt with it. It might do some damage. It's got this vehicle has a plastic fan. if that thing were to come apart, you get all this stuff, it could potentially hit, damage your fan, definitely damage your belt, because the belt's going to come off at that high rate and it's going to get wound up on something. And it's just, if you know you can do something to prevent some maintenance, do preventive maintenance on your vehicle, you can't afford not to. I don't care. You know, hey, I get it. I've been poor. I grew up poor. That's why I learned how to be a mechanic, because I always drove piece of shit cars and they always need some work, right? So I'm gonna take this off. I'll let you know what I use. Like I said, for the belt tent, the idler pulley was a 13 or ½ inch socket. These look like about a 10, so I'll be right back. All right, so I got the tensioner out. Came with a little bit of sacrifice, a little tight spot down there. Ripped this glove up, but oh well. This is the old one, obviously. This is the new one. Old one still says Ford on it, so I know this is probably either, I don't know, it could be the factory one because it's got the Ford stamp on it. But either way, I'm not mad about changing it, because the bearing in this pulley doesn't seem too bad, honestly. A little bit of noise. It could be a lot worse. So I'm glad that I'm changing it. A little peace of mind. The 3 bolts here are 10 millimeter. One thing that happened to me just now is a belt. Here's the belt. It got hung up on this stud right here. Put a little bit of tension on the tensioner. I thought the belt was free. It had a little tension on there. So I was having some issue getting the bolts out. There's the bolt right here. These are 3 of these, 10 millimeter. It was just, as I was undoing it, it just seemed like it was a lot of resistance. Well, that's because it was in a bind. That's because the belt was pulling on the tensioner, putting everything in a bind, because the belt was hung up on this little stud. Took it off the stud, fixed the problem. So just something to keep in mind. So that's it. Now to put this back together, I'll do it one piece at a time. It tells you in the box, so make sure you follow the torque specs. I know, not everybody has a torque wrench. I recommend you get one. Do the best you can on it. I say that, and I admit I don't have one. You know, it's one of them deals where I had one and somehow it got damaged and I never replaced it. So, before I put this together, a little funny story about, earlier I talked about having shitty cars and being poor. Long time ago, back in probably 1996, me and some buddies, we scraped up some money, get some tickets to go see Ozzy. We're big Ozzy fans. You don't want to go hear some music. We lived outside, about 30 miles from Houston. The concert was in Houston. It was in January, about this time of year, about like this time, middle of January. Cold. Froze the night before the concert. We had a freeze. And my old car had an 82 Impala, and I had water in the radiator, not coolant, not enough. And well, it froze up. I wanted to start it in the morning to go to work, and a big chunk of ice, I presume, messed up my water pump. Messed up. Water pump started leaking. It was making noise. All kind of hell broke loose. Like crap, this was the car that we're going to go see Ozzy with in like 12 hours, and now the car's broke down. So I think I called into work because I had no car. Called my buddy. He called into work because he needed to come help me. We scraped up some money somehow and got a pump, put it all back together, and we made it back to the concert. It was a great concert, and it was crazy, how things go when you got plans, right? I think 4 of us went. We took my car because it was a bigger car, more room. But so the lesson there is check your coolant. Well, we just had a freeze here in Texas. Most of the country had a freeze. Do yourself a favor. Check the coolant. Make sure you have the right coolant. Make sure make sure you don't have a leak. Take care of your vehicle, because that sucked. Funny story, at the time I thought, man, we'll never get to this concert. Scraped up this money, get these tickets, and thought we weren't gonna make it. So anyways, we're right back. We'll put this part on, and we'll get this truck running. Okay, so here's what I got. As you can see, brand new tensioner with the 3 10 millimeter bolts is installed. Got my breaker bar already on it, so I can get the belts put where it needs to be. There's the idler pulley. It's installed. Feels nice and smooth. So the only thing left to do now is we'll put the belt on and reassemble the air intake. And see, I unplugged the sensor here. One of my recommendations I give is if you're going to take stuff apart or move stuff around, do yourself a favor, unplug this kind of stuff. If you got to put a tag or something to remind you, do that. Because these wires, I mean, you think, oh, I'll just push it a few inches out the way, give me some room. Well, that few inches may stretch this and damage this wire, damage this connector. This stuff's over 21 years old. You know, it's been exposed to this engine heat and the Texas heat. So do yourself a favor, just unplug it. Don't think, oh, I'll just stretch it and yank it and pull it. Because this don't have a lot of, this particular sensor plug does not have a lot of give on it. It's stuck here. It's only, that's it. And the plug for this is over here on this back side, so that's a heck of a stretch, you know. So don't do yourself a favor. This one here had a lot of slack on it, I'm not worried about, but just in this case, it's kind of a short little pigtail. Don't yank on these wires. Stuff's old. Do yourself a favor. So before I put this on, I want to thank y'all for putting up with this. I'm pretty new at this YouTube thing, but I figure, you know what, make a little video. Maybe somebody out there might be, you know, save a few bucks and fix your car yourself. Get yourself a good set of tools. I was a mechanic for a number of years, so I've got, you know, professional tools. But then I also got stuff from AutoZone and O'Reilly's and even Amazon now. But, you know, if you're gonna be making money on your tools, yeah, you want to get the best, right? But if you're just gonna be at the house, like I'm in my garage right now, changing oil and putting the little parts on here and there, just a decent set of metric. Make sure you get the metric. I got a new glove on. Metric and standard, because these cars, this particular vehicle here, I swear it's both. A lot of metric, but then every once in a while there's a standard bolt on here or something. It's weird. So do yourself a favor. You know, look at videos before you decide to tackle something. Have a backup. Like if something were to happen here and I broke something or need another part, got a neighbor, he's home, I can catch a ride. So give yourself a backup. The job's too big, there's no shame in saying no to it, for real. You know, there's professionals out there that do this every day, but there's small stuff that you can do at the house, save yourself a few bucks. But you know your skill set, you know what you can and can't do, so you know how to make the best judgment. You know, I do stuff on my own because I'm like that. Did it for many years, so it's still in my blood. So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up and let's see if we got it going. So the belt is on, and this is what I went by right here. So make sure you got the right engine, because again, these vehicles come off an assembly line. They're making, you know, trucks with different options are on the same line. So in this case, apparently it's a 4.2 liter engine that comes here, and then of course this is used to say 4.6 up here. So this is the path of the belt. Make damn sure you know what you're looking at. Now, as reference, I'll show you this bottom one. That's the very bottom. That's the harmonic balancer. That's the very bottom center of the engine. In this case, this one here is the power steering pump. This one in the middle is the water pump. This one on top is the alternator pulley. This at the very bottom left is the AC compressor pulley. This here doesn't look like it, but this is that belt tensioner we just replaced. It's just showing, these are just the pulleys. You don't see the actual the equipment that's attached to them. So this smaller one in between here, and this kind of weird looking shape, kind of odd, yet somewhat familiar shape. Anyways, this is the belt tensioner pulley. And this one here is the idler pulley, the top one we replaced. So it's not going to tell you that. You just kind of have to look at the engine and kind of put these pieces together in your mind, what you're looking at. So, man, the more I look at this, the more weird things I see. Anywho, so another pro tip. Get some light up in here. All right, so I've got the belt on. There you go. It's all nice and pretty. There's our new parts. Everything's where it needs to be. This particular belt has plenty of room to where it's on the pulley perfectly, but you may come across a deal where you're on it, but you're just maybe on the edge, That's okay, because you can bump the engine and it should put it back on. So this belt is within the pulley confines, but if I were coming off just a hair and I bumped the engine, 9 times out of 10 it should hop onto that pulley. But if you can avoid that, I would recommend just do your best to get on there. If you can't get this belt on, there's something wrong. You got some more work to do, because the belt should be a good, tight, snug fit. You know, if it's a brand new belt and you can't get it on, you may have the wrong belt. You don't know. Just save your old one. Don't throw away your old parts until you're done putting the new ones on. Keep them to compare. So, also, one more thing. Down here, I need another hand. Anyway, okay, so you'll see, like right here, here's my belt. This is the power steering pulley, and I'm pointing at a stud. There's a threaded stud that sticks out right above the pulley. Well, when I put the belt on earlier, I had the belt over this stud, not the pulley. I realized it, and I was able to get off of there and redo it. Again, you know, it had not, you know, if you don't know what you're looking at, or you're new at this and that happens, you may think, oh, I got something wrong with the belt. No, you gotta make sure, just make damn sure that your belt is on every pulley. But yeah, there's a stud right there. There it is. You see better there. Right there. Here's the belt. There's the stud. I had the belt over it, so look out for stuff like that. I'm gonna put this together and let's see if we fixed it. Let's see what she sounds like. There's a mileage, 298. Well, gotta admit when I'm wrong, and this is one of them times where I'm wrong. So I started up, I had that same noise. So the only thing left that sounds like it could be the AC compressor down there at the very bottom. If you're familiar with air conditioning compressors, it's got an electromagnetic clutch on the pulley. So what happens is when you turn on your AC, the electromagnetic clutch engages the pulley and starts turning the pump, the compressor, to compress your freon and get your cold air. Of course, it's moving parts, has bearings. I think it's probably been there. I've never changed it, so I'm assuming it's been there quite a while. The noise just does change when I cycle the AC off and on. I hadn't done that because it's been cold, so I haven't ran my AC lately. So that's something I would, you know, had it been summertime, I probably would have noticed, but whatever. So this is going to be an L for me because I did not fix the problem I was hoping to fix. But I did narrow down what the real culprit is more likely my clutch, electromagnetic clutch on that AC compressor. But, you know, I did change out the pulleys, which that's a peace of mind. That's, you know, that'll be good for another 20 years, hopefully. 10, 20 years, won't have to mess with that. So anyways, this was fun, but it's just something that can happen. You know, they're not all home runs, right? You know, we don't always win. I'm kind of bummed about it because I was excited that I found that bad bearing. I thought I was going to get this fixed and be done, but nope. That AC compressor is off to the shop. I'm not going to jack with that. You know, I know my skill set, and I'm not going to mess with that. You know, I was ASE certified in air conditioning, but I don't have the equipment. And let me just say that to everybody out there. Air conditioning, guys that do that, we have to take a test. We're licensed to handle the Freon, especially the old school Freon. Those guys are ASE certified. They take tests to keep their certifications up. I haven't taken the ASE test in probably about 15 years. I don't know if I could pass it, but anyways, so just keep that in mind when you guys out there taking your vehicles to shops and you think, oh, they're charging me too much, they're charging me, you know, they're screwing me on the bill, but you know, those guys, you know, they take classes and certifications too. Anyways, I know I'm just rambling on here, but anyways, I'll do an update video when I take it to the shop. I can't do it right this second, but I'll have to make an appointment. I got some guys down the road, pretty good guys. I trust them with my stuff, so I'll make another video later, so catch you on the next one.